Hi everyone, Harris here with iDownload Blog. I've been using the MacBook Pro 16-inch for over a week now, and I want to share my top 5 favorite features of this computer. I shared a bunch of new changes to this computer in the last video, but this one I want to highlight my 5 favorites and go a little bit more in depth into them. Let's go ahead and get started with number 1. Alright, so I think the keyboard is the biggest change here, and it is great. So Apple definitely did a Command-Z with the keyboards, and they went back to the pre-2016 keyboards, pre-12-inch MacBook, pre-USB-C MacBook butterfly switch design, and they went back to the scissor switch mechanism. These keys you can actually take off of the computer with just a little bit of a wedge, which means that they are more repairable, and if dirt or chips or anything gets underneath the keys, you can actually get that and clean it yourself just with a simple tool. And this is a dramatic change from last year's and the past few years where you had to pretty much replace the whole laptop and the whole middle section if you wanted to clean out the keyboard. Apple didn't even put an ingress protection seal around the inside of the key because they're confident that you won't need to have that protection, but even if something does get in, like I said, you can fix it yourself. Also, the travel is almost double what it was before. For around 0.5 millimeter of travel, you now have around 1 millimeter of travel, so when you're pressing down the key, you just get a lot more reaction and a lot more feedback, which feels great when you're typing. And it's also quieter, about 25% quieter than the previous butterfly keyboards, and you can see that the 16-inch MacBook Pro with its new Magic Keyboard is also quieter than a 2015 MacBook Pro and several other high-end laptops, only slightly louder than the Pixelbook Go according to this graph, so that's great. It's got a very similar system to Apple's keyboard that they ship with the iMac, with a very nice tactile, clicky feel. It's not a super harsh sound, it's got a nice thud to it, and overall this keyboard is a joy to type on. It's great to see Apple going back to the basics, doing Command-Z on the keyboard, and putting in a much better keyboard, a much more durable keyboard with this computer. Number 2, the speaker. So it's a little bit louder than the previous speakers, but it's about the sound quality. It's crazy. So the subwoofers balance each other out and get rid of the vibrations and the echoes that you would normally have on a speaker, and this allows the bass to be much richer and clearer. And I'm not an audiophile by any means at all, but the first time that I played this, I was listening to a song, I forget which one, but I thought it was a different song just because of how different it sounded compared to my older MacBook. This is really great. It's much better sounding. You can even replace a small speaker within an office space or a closed environment with this MacBook Pro speaker because it is that good. And you can hear the sound comparison between the 2018 MacBook Pro, the 16-inch MacBook Pro, and iPad Pro, and my Logitech UE speaker. Number 3 is the microphone. So this won't impact everybody equally, but I think it will impact everyone. So Apple claims that the microphone on this MacBook Pro is studio quality. And by that, they definitely have a loose standard, a low standard for studio quality. And of course, studio quality means that you're in a studio with no background sound, because this does pick up background sound just like any lower end microphone will. So if you're in a loud environment, it's not going to sound particularly great, but a quiet environment, it sounds pretty good. But the thing that I like about this is just the security, knowing that if I'm ever somewhere where I don't have a microphone with me, maybe a hotel room and I need to record some audio, or anywhere when I'm traveling, or just forget an audio source, this is always a good backup source if I'm in a quiet location. But even if you aren't a video or audio person, someone who works with those day to day, it'll still be great for FaceTime calls, Skype calls, any type of audio call. Using the microphones on here, even for a school project, is going to be super great, and it's going to mimic a low-end microphone pretty well, which is crazy. All right, number 4, battery. Who doesn't love more battery? So you get an hour extra battery out of here, which is great, because I always thought that the Retina MacBook Pros sort of lacked in battery, so you get an extra hour in here. The extra battery life on here is going to be really great for just getting more usage out of your MacBook Pro. Apple's claiming 11 hours of usage, and with light usage and maybe staying away from Google Chrome, that's probably pretty realistic. I've been getting some pretty solid battery, not having to charge my MacBook Pro too often, and who doesn't love more battery life? And last but not least is the SSD. So the SSD is about 8 to 10% faster than previous Mac SSDs, which puts it around 2,800 megabytes per second read and write, which is pretty great, but that's not what I'm talking about here. So for starting, it starts at double the storage that it used to. So instead of 256, you're getting 512 gigabytes as the base for the $2399 model, which is a decent amount of storage for a starting price, and I really like that they did that. But also upgrading the storage got much cheaper. So to upgrade to 1 terabyte is $200, which, I mean, you're not going from 0 gigabytes to 1 terabyte, you're going from 512 to 1 terabyte. But a similar speed SSD on Amazon is around $150, the 970 EVO. That's around $150, so Apple is just charging a little bit more. To go up to 2 terabytes, it is $600, which again, this SSD is around $550 to do that. Then you can also go up to 4 or 8 terabyte SSD, which is hard to find in general, especially for these speeds, much less for these price points. So the fact that it both can go up to 8 terabytes, but is only $2,400 more to have 8,000 gigabytes of insanely fast solid state storage is a really cool feature of this computer and a great selling point for Apple. Even if you just want to upgrade to 1 terabyte SSD, I think the $200 is not a bad investment at all. So those are my 5 favorite features of the 16-inch MacBook Pro. It's a great computer, and no, I didn't talk about the screen because the screen's only slightly bigger than the previous MacBook, but all these other features, from the speakers to the microphone to the SSD to the keyboard, they're all awesome features, and I'm really liking this computer. I think Apple has put together a very well-rounded computer. Anyway, let me know your favorite feature of this MacBook Pro. Are you upgrading to it? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching.